every single day I managed to not only get up, but be the best and brightest version of myself for her. I couldn't communicate with my daughter. She couldn't tell me her pain. The only difference between an ordeal and an adventure is attitude. I used to think of energy as being coffee. I used to think of energy as being fitness. Or I used to think of energy as having a good sleep at night and wake up in the morning revitalized. My definition of energy has changed in a sense that I was in a place, in hospital with my daughter where I was nothing but devastated, distraught, stressed, anxious, heartbroken, at the pits of how a man can feel. And every single day I managed to not only get up, but be the best and brightest version of myself for her. Then you can go a little step further, and having lost my daughter, being completely broken to where I don't know how to get through another day. Not only how to get through another day, but not even wanting to get through another day. And during that point, finding my purpose and my reason why, which is my daughter, realizing how much she not only changed my life and made my life, but saved my life. Understanding those crucial lessons that nobody has ever been able to have taught me. And she managed to do that. I figured out that I wanted to live the rest of my life honoring her time on this earth, refusing to let her 8 months here and her passing be in vain. That's when I found the true definition of energy, because I understood that no matter how fatigued I was, no matter how bad I was feeling, no matter how much I'd done the day before or the 365 days before that, I always had energy to push through and perform because of my reason why. And I think there's a little saying, isn't it? A man with a strong enough reason why can bear almost any how. And I know that for a fact now.
We'll do a few episodes of this, but we'll never hear a better description of what energy is than that, my friend. And I think everyone who's heard your story is connected with it, in both the tribulations of going through it, the energy you found to protect Azaylia from poor energy. I think that when we look at how infectious energy is, and that particular piece, when did you realize that energy cocoon, if you like, you needed to set that up? Where did that come from?
When I had my daughter, oh my God, I didn't realize how big my heart is and how much love it held in it. And I didn't realize I could feel that incredible feeling to such a high degree to what she gave me. And that made my whole life change. My life wasn't about me anymore. It wasn't about my success. It wasn't about monetary values. It was about devoting as much love and positivity and nurturing care to my daughter as much as possible. So when we were in hospital with my daughter, I quickly discovered that, I couldn't communicate with my daughter. She couldn't tell me her pain. She couldn't tell me how she was feeling. So one way that I always used to deal with my daughter is by thinking, if I was in that situation, what kind of person would I want around me? It's the same way as I look at her in heaven now. I think if I was in heaven, would I want everybody that I touched and affected to be sad, to be miserable, to be down? Or would I want them to be the best versions of themselves that they could possibly be as a result of how powerful my touch was to them? So when I was in that situation with Azaylia, I thought, she can't understand the words that we're saying. She can't communicate how she feels. But I realized that babies are sensory beings. So I thought she can definitely pick up on the energy that's around her. And in that situation, there were so many things that were out of our control, that the energy that we surrounded our daughter with was one thing that was in our control. So I was adamant that we were going to surround her with the best energy that we possibly could every single minute of every single day that she was in our care. And that's what I decided to do. And boy, did it pay off, because I thought that, I was trying to do the best thing as a daddy for my daughter. And it turned out that even though, I only got 8 months with her and she isn't with me anymore, I will remember and cherish those memories with the whole of my heart for the rest of my life, because it was the best time that I would find energy to live over and over and over again if I had the chance.
Incredible. And that is emotional intelligence on a level, and knowing she felt that is so clear to everyone who's followed your story and seen
it was replicated. The physios and everyone used to come into the room and they used to, test Azaylia's, like, her strength, her energy. They used to monitor to see how she was comparing to another baby who wasn't poorly. And they always said that she was far more developed and far more advanced than a healthy baby at that time.
Your great-grandparents got something from drinking water that you probably don't. Over the last century, we've made water safer to drink, on the whole, but something has been lost in the process. Natural water sources once provided essential minerals that our bodies evolved with over thousands of years. Today's water, even premium bottled source water, contains 78% fewer minerals than it did just a century ago. In fact, you'd have to drink 1.5 bathtubs to replenish the minerals that you lose in a litre of sweat. So if you think your water is hydrating you optimally, think again. Pure Sport, a company that I personally trust and use, solves this problem for high performers through their Ultra Electrolytes, a science-backed ratio of electrolytes in one single sachet. Optimize your hydration and leave the bath for bathing. Use our exclusive discount code EE10 at www.puresport.co for 10% off.
If you've seen Azaylia, her expressions, she would mimic you. She would, if she caught me in the room, she would smile. She would know if I was sleeping. She'd know if I was awake. She was so developed because every second of every day, I was hands-on with her. I would talk to her like she was an adult. I would play with her constantly. So she had so much attention. She was surrounded by so much good energy, and it's shown in the way that she was back to us, So it was just an incredible, incredible time. And I think I heard a saying, and it said, the only difference between an ordeal and an adventure is attitude. And I can vouch for that. When I was in hospital, I think probably I was the only dad that was in there. And the crazy thing about it is you see so many people going through, hard times, and you can't go through a harder time than your child being ill. But my attitude was each day was a blessing. And me being by my daughter's side in hospital through a global pandemic, without seeing my friends or my family, without being able to leave the hospital room or the hotel room because of COVID, ended up being the best, most beautiful and happiest 8 months of my life. And that was because of the approach that I decided to tackle it with,
And it's led you now to be quite a machine, Ash.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got to look at where that experience has led us to today and say, if people, jump onto your Instagram, they're going to find a guy who's taken that purpose and has translated it into some pretty extraordinary physical accomplishments.
Yeah.
And the energy to do that is I suppose, a key part of what we want to talk about today. Because I'm sat here marveling at some of the stuff you're doing, and like many people, sort of wondering how you do it. I think most people understand why. People who've listened to your story and understood it can feel that narrative you've painted around where your purpose has come from. What they wouldn't be able to understand is how you still manage to do the things that you are doing on a physical accomplishment point of view. So I do want to get into that as this next piece and look below the bonnet.
Yeah.
Machine.
I mean, I'm interested as well.